Hey, what is going on, Queen City Reefers? Welcome to another episode here with Queen City Reef some more. All right, so today is a special video for me. Very special because I took the plunge, I took a chance, and I hope the chance that I took is worth it, right? That's because we are changing lighting. We're changing from EcoTech Marine Radions XR15 G4 Pros to the Quanta Lights Atlas. I don't know how many of y'all know. I don't know how many of y'all follow Mr. Luca from Quanta Lights or Telegram, or a lot of these budget conscious reefers. But what I've been led to believe from my own research, with my own discussions with some of these gentlemen, and Luca himself from Quanta Lights, is that this is the best light you can get at the same quality of those higher end lights. And a lot of it has to do with things that I'm about to talk about this light, like the ability to control it, right? Which is definitely something I'm gonna miss, but I do have a way to do so, and we'll talk about that on this video. Right now though, I'm actually looking at a coral that somebody purchased on www.queencityreefs.com. So make sure that if there's any coral you see on any of these videos, or you wanna take a look at what the inventory is today, go. Check it out. I promise you, you won't regret it. So for now, I need to pack this coral right here, and then we're gonna get to the lights. Being that it's a colony of this torch here, it's 3+ heads, I had to use a big jar. And so in this case, I'm reusing Algae Barn's jars because I just can't see myself throwing them away and just creating more waste. So I figured, why not put them to good use? In this case, this frag is mounted to, I don't remember, Eco Rocks, I think it's the name of it. I'll put the name of them here at the bottom of the screen because I can't remember from the top of my head, but I am loving these. I'll definitely talk about it in a different video, but so far all it is, it's a rock, and I'm so sorry for the fogginess. You know what? Hold on a second. All right, I scraped the glass, but that made the tank a little bit foggy. You'll see that a lot of these frags are mounted on these rocks, and what it is, look at that. Well, before I show you the rock, so at the bottom of that rock, I actually put some super glue, and I'm putting it in a tank so that the glue will have time to dry out and cure, and then that way I will then take out the water from the jar, rinse it out a little bit, that way there's no residue, and I'm going to put a few granules of carbon in there, which is I have found to be the best way to ship corals because they arrive the healthiest when there's carbon. I'm assuming because they release something and then it stays in the water, so with the carbon it actually absorbs it and helps the coral, you know, arrive safely. So, but let me show you these rocks before we get to the lights. So these right here are the rocks that I have in the Innovative Marine tank. And as you can see, there's a hole already in there for the frag. And you can actually don't even bother having to cut the frag. You could put the frag in there, glue it in there, and then maybe even glue this to your work so it looks like it's part of it. I actually thought that idea is pretty ingenious. I believe there's some similar products out there already like this, but I don't know if they have the hole. I know that there's rubble rock that can be used to put frags on, but I don't know. Something about the colors of this too, and you know, it's very lightweight. It feels very nice. And that hole, perfectly for a frag plug. Yep, definitely like it. All right, let me finish packing this coral right here, Here we go. I wanted to show y'all, you know, just a quick peek of how I normally ship things. Now I'm gonna go ahead and box them, and your box is your typical box with styrofoam inside. And so this is not really a how to ship coral video, but if you want me to make one of those, definitely leave that in the comments below, and I will be more than happy to share what I do, so that, you know, if you ever thinking of shipping coral, well, this should help. He ordered only one, which is the one in the back, but one of the things that I practice all the time is Reefers code. And so, yes, I like making a little bit of money on the side, you know, to support this hobby and how expensive it can sometimes get. But at the same time, if I have a lot of coral, like for example, I had a lot of the bubblegum digitata, I went ahead and included a big frag of that. If you can see, it has several branches. And this is a two-headed gold hammer. And so I just definitely felt like being generous, definitely like sharing some things in the hobby. And in this case, I decided to add 2 freebies instead of 1. Let me go ahead and box these, and I'm gonna have to go drop them off, and I'll be right with y'all in just a minute to discuss what is new for the 310-gallon Mega Matrix. All right, so here we go. This is the moment I've been waiting for. I actually got these last night, but because my son had a game and we had to go pick up my daughter from gymnastics that now is about 30 minutes away. By the time I got home, I just was too tired and said, you know what, I'll wait till the next day, which is today. So I'm excited. All right, here we go. Y'all thought this was the box of the light, right? I did too. Look at this nice packaging. Here are your lights. This almost seems like product placement, right? Look, let me start off by saying this is in no way, shape, or form a sponsored video. You get a bundle pack. I got a discount because of the bundle pack. I really was only gonna get 3, but you know, I was like, you know what? It's a long tank. If I don't end up using it for this tank behind me, I'll use it for a different tank. But at least I can get it now so that I have it and not have to pay, you know, the full price for it, being that you pretty much get the 3rd or the 4th one at a discount, however you want to look at that. But yes, these are the new Quanta Lights Atlas is what they are, and these are what are going to go over my Mega Matrix and be the main light source for this aquarium. But I'm going to go ahead and unpack one so you can see exactly what I'm talking about, and then I want you to tell me in the comments below, what does this light remind you of once I put it all together? So there you have it. I mean, this is pretty neat packaging, right? Nice packaging doesn't have to cost a fortune, right? Especially to the consumer. So I appreciate that this is actually nice packaging, makes you feel like you actually just bought a top tier product, which I still believe that it is. Just because the price is lower than a lot of the competition, there's a reason for that, and it also doesn't have to mean that it's, you know, a cheap item. Now, they are made in China, I believe. If I saw the box correctly, it said made in China. But what product is not? I mean, literally, it might be assembled here, but everything, almost everything electronic comes from China. So I don't know, it ticks me off when I see a post somewhere saying, oh, but you know, they're Chinese items or they're Chinese products or whatever the case is. What is it? I mean, literally, what isn't? All right, so nice. This right here is the light. And just looking at it, I mean, it looks very premium. This right here is the actual power supply, driver, whatever you want to call it. It is supposed to be made by the same company that makes street lights or something like that. I'm not 100% sure, but you know, he's very confident that these will do the job and will do it for a long time. This itself is the light. If there's something that I really liked about this light and what drove me to decide for this one is it's panel lighting. It's literally from edge to edge lighting, and I feel like that is really the way to go when it comes to reef tanks if you really want full coverage with minimum shadowing, right? I am planning to make this a wall-to-wall SPS reef tank. I wanted to try something that was panel lighting like this. And so if you don't know already, I will tell you now that my dream light has always been the ATI Stratton Pros, with really the Strattons period, and then they came out with the Pros, and I still have yet to be able to afford them, which is a panel light. Very sleek looking, very nice. That being said, for the size of this tank, we're talking about, if I want wall-to-wall coverage, the largest panel they have is about $1,900, and I would have to buy 4 of them. So we're talking about, after taxes, over $8,000. And this right here, it's $1,800 to $1,900 each light. And this one here, assuming it does the job, like that's what I'm here for. I'm gonna be as honest as I can be. So far from just looking at it, just feeling it, it feels very premium. It feels industrial, actually, like a commercial light, which I believe is what he's shooting for. And at that price, I was like, screw, you know, for it as being just commercial, I can bring this home and make it residential, right? I'm really excited to use this light. Now, earlier I mentioned something about, you know, there is a downside to this light that you might see as a downside because you're used to all the features that all the other light providers do, and that is controllability. Straight out of the box, it is a turn on and off light. All channels at 100%. The way that I think he explained to me is really just one channel with multiple spectrums, and so then there's no way to really control the different spectrums that this light has. It's only one channel, but controllability would add cost to this light. Does the lighting that I already have work for this tank? Absolutely. You know, the Radions with the T5 combo, they're tried and true. There's farms that use it. There's other vendors that use it, you know, with a lot of success. So I'm in no way, shape, or form saying switch your Radions and get this light right away. Nah, you know, that's up to you if you want to move away from it, if there's a reason why, so on and so forth. But I want to, you know, I want to bring you along this ride when it comes to the lighting and see if it really does works long term, if it can last the test of time, and if it can create the beautiful coral reef that I'm trying to create. It will definitely be something I recommend for those that want a quality light at a very minimum price that I think honestly, you know, it's affordable. For those that are still watching at this point, I truly appreciate it. Please don't forget to hit that like button. Please consider subscribing to the channel. And if you have any questions, comments, or concerns, please leave it in the comments below. I'll definitely make a follow-up video based off the questions that are on the comments. All right, so in the box, you have the light itself, a very long extension cord to make sure that you're able to get power wherever you need it, and make sure you're able to tuck the cable away without having to get extension cords. And this is where I was actually talking about there is a way to actually control this to a certain extent, and that is through a 0 to 10 volt cable. Again, you're only able to control one channel, but what you're able to do is dim it, give it the sunrise sunset effect. That's something that I'm definitely going to use, because I also ordered the 0 to 10 volt cables from Apex. Since I already have that controller, I have the module already mounted onto my controller board, and therefore I'm definitely going to put that to use with this light itself, because I do actually like the sunrise to sunset controllability. And so last but not least, you will get here the mounting hook that will pretty much screw onto the top of this, and you're able to just hang the light from the ceiling. That's really it. It's that simple. That's all that comes in this box. Now, I'm gonna go ahead and hook them up. I'm gonna actually figure out a way to put them right in between the T5 system, because I do have different bulbs coming for the T5 system, which is the True Actinic, and then the Blue Plus is another one, so that this right here gives you about the 14K look. So it's a very white looking light. Definitely something to keep in mind, that this is a very white light. If you like that, it's supposed to replicate like a metal halide. I forgot what bulb exactly he said, but you can definitely look all that up. And then I'm gonna use the T5 bulbs to supplement that blue. Now, at some point or another, I gotta heal from the cost of these, right? I did use the money that I got from the Radions to be able to afford this, but there was still a little bit extra that I needed to put out of pocket. And once I heal from that, I plan to remove the T5 system and instead get the Helix bars that he sells, and use an LED combo of bars with this light. And then those bars that he sells he's got daylight and he's got blue pop too. So I plan on using the blue one to be able to give that coral pop. But for now, I'll be happy with the T5 plus this LED light combo. You know, I almost did forget one thing. I did forget to mention the other piece of this. This is an optional item that you can purchase for these lights. And tell me if you don't see a resemblance here, which is what I wanted you to leave in the comments below, if you see the resemblance of a different light here. So in here, you're going to find, which are way bigger than I expected, you are going to find a reflector. And so once I'm ready to hang up these lights without the T5 system, this is exactly how the setup is gonna go. And so this right here, tell me if this does not remind you of a metal halide fixture with the silver reflector. Now, I will tell you right now, I asked him if I was able to spray paint these without affecting the performance, and he said yes, he's got people that have done it with like plasti dip paint, I think. And so I am definitely thinking of either doing these white or black. Let me know what you think. I feel like white, there's a lot of white in my walls and my crown molding and all that stuff, that maybe white would be perfect, but then the stand of the tank is black. Let me know what you think. Should I spray paint these black or should I do white? Now, for now, I'm gonna store these back in the same box because I definitely don't think I could use them with the T5 combo. So these are gonna lay where the Radions were on the top there in the middle without the reflector. But I decided to get them with them because, again, it came at a discount when you bought it in bulk. And I figured eventually I do want to move away from the T5s and move over to the LED bars. I'm going to go ahead and pause here. I'm going to hook them up. And so once I have them mounted and connected, I will bring you along to see me turning them on and the reaction, the real reaction you'll get from that from me. I'll be back in a minute. So y'all going to have to excuse the noise in the back because my kids are finally home and they are in the middle of helping me with some stuff. Like, he helps me with the skimmers. So I haven't turned the lights on yet, but I wanted to show you what they look like so far. So my main idea was to just pretty much sit them on top over here because the diameter of this light fits exactly at the corners right here. And then I'm having the bars that the Radions were hooked on be what they sit on, and kind of use those screws to make sure that it doesn't go, you know, sideways. It can't go, you know, up that way forward and back, but it can't go sideways. So I'm hoping that that will suffice, and then let's see if I can come up with something, or maybe y'all can help me come up with something to better secure this light to this rail here. The other way that I was actually thinking of doing this, and I left this light here on purpose because I wanted to show y'all. The other thought was to, let's see if I can do this with one hand, maybe hang them from the bottom instead. So if you can see here, there's two on this end and two on the other end over there. And believe it or not, that screw that comes with the EcoTech Radions fits that hole right there, but the issue is they're not long enough. So my thought was going to the hardware store and finding some that are a bit longer, and then come back over here and use these brackets to kind of like, you know, guide the hole through there and on both sides, and it hang the way that the other lights do. The Radions, for example, it's just a tad bit too wide where it doesn't come all the way through, but I don't know that it would be that bad, right? So here at the bottom, the way that it would look is something like this. So some of the light from the T5 would hit the edge, but I'm not sure that that looks too bad. I don't know. What do y'all think? This way or that way? I almost feel like maybe on the top is better because it kind of gets recessed into the fixture and works as a little shade for me not to have all that glare when I sit on the couch and look up over here, right? Let me finish doing this. I'm gonna leave them on top for now, and then I wanna turn them on and measure par. And my apologies for this turning out to be a long video, but I figured it's definitely worth it, especially when there's new stuff coming out. All right, so for now, 2 of the Quanta Lights Atlas on each side. I used to have 3 Radion XR15s. One thing I did forget to mention while I was actually showcasing the light when I was unboxing it was right over here, there's a little cover with a gasket on it so the water doesn't get through. To be able to control this little switch that's right there, my apologies, it's a little dark. You know how it is when recording reef tanks. There's a little switch for 3 options in there. All right, you see the switch right there, right? And then right here it tells you what those options are, and I think it comes out a little blurry, hold on. So the options are 240 watts, 200 watts, and 150 watts. So if you're still not gonna control it with any controller, you have the option to control the intensity by switching the wattage, and it goes all the way up to 240 watts per light, and then the middle is 200 watts, and then in the lower area, option C is 150 watts. I'm gonna start off at the low area just because I'm curious of the difference in par, and I'm sure y'all are too. So this honestly will be considered an in-depth review because I'm definitely taking my time and definitely gonna be a long video, but I don't mind it. All right, so here's my par meter, the ITC Reef Culture Par-Wise, which I really believe is a really good par meter, especially for the price compared to the Apogee. There's also some rave about a different par meter that's sold on Amazon that the differences are not that major, and that one is a very affordable one, so definitely recommend it. I'm gonna look for it and leave it in the description below so that you can take a look. I'm curious to see what the par is with just the T5, so Let me do that real quick, and then I'll connect these other ones and measure the par on it by itself. So right under right here, and we're just gonna do one area because this is a blanket light, so there's no need to go in different areas. But right under, wow, there's only 84, 112, 113. So there's about 113 par, and it's not even under the water yet. Let's see what these corals are getting right here. So mid-tank, I'm getting 60 par. The top of where some of these corals are, 72. These fill lights, I was thinking that they would at least give about 100 par, but I guess not. Well, that's surprising. Then again, I have had these about 9 months. My understanding is that normally T5s, you want to change them out every year, right? And talking to BRS at some point, you know, I was questioning them, and you know, that's when you use the lights 10 to 12 hours a day. If you use them as supplement, and in my case, I've run them from 3 to 4 hours. I've changed through the year. I change it from 4 hours and I go down to 3. I don't know why, just depending on the electric bill, right? What they told me is if I run them as a supplement and only for 3 to 4 hours a day, that I should get 3 years out of them. All right, so we're in the dark a bit. Right now, I have not seen this. And keep in mind that what you see in person is gonna be completely different than what the camera interprets. I do have it at 150 par for each light. And so I'm definitely looking forward to measuring the par. I'll start here right under the light and maybe right in between both lights. I'm curious to see how this light makes this tank look. All right, so here we go. Here we go. Woo! All right. Look at that. Definitely very white. Definitely very white. I will say that. So white that I don't know that I'm going to want to have this at all times, but maybe around 2 hours in midday. I will say that the shadowing is not as prevalent as it was with the Radions. Like there's less shadowing, and that's just with the light alone. When I used to run the Radions without the light, without the T5s, there was a lot of shadowing for sure because they were that small little puck that, you know, pointed. And I know they make the G5s and G6s. I know. I'm going by the G4s here. I'm definitely liking the coverage. The coverage looks amazing. Now, I'm gonna be honest, the white is a little too white for my taste, but according to him, they did a lot of research when it came to spectrum, and he programmed these lights and put LEDs, enough LEDs to cover a big portion of the full spectrum. Definitely so far, I'm impressed when it comes to the coverage. I'm not saying I'm not impressed with the spectrum, I just feel like it's a little too white for my taste. I'm just being completely honest. I wish it maybe had a little bit more blue. The coverage is phenomenal so far. Now let's see what it looks like with the T5s on. All right, with the T5s, it actually gives it a little bit more of that blue purplish look, which I actually like, but I'm looking forward to getting the actinic blue T5 bulbs and then eventually the blue plus T5 bulbs so that I can get the best of both worlds. That white that, you know, I know that these corals need, and then that blue that is so pleasing to our eyes because of the coral pop. So yeah, let's now measure par. This again is at 150 watts. All right, let's turn these back off. Let's get to measuring the par. I'm definitely looking forward to this. I'm gonna do screenshots so I can show you the spectrum that this light throws according to this par meter here. So right under the light over the lid, wow, the T5s were like at 90. I remember doing the Radions and they would get to like 500-ish. These right now at 150 watts is showing 1,225 par. Now, of course, this is not where the par matters, so let's bring it right under the water line. I am at 600, 580 to 600 par. This smoothie right here, and then I have this other acro that kind of looks like a Walt Disney, but is not. These right here right now are getting 386, 399, 376, 383, 326. Let's see how much I'm getting at the sand bed. I'm struggling. I broke that stick that you can just bring it down and point it. So now I threw it away. I don't have it anymore. All right, at the sand bed right there, we are getting 200, 229, 231, 217, 221. So let's say an average of 220 at the sand bed right there. Wow. Right here on the glass where my frags are at, I wonder if the reflection will give it any more. It's stating 237, 239, 234, So average of 230 right here. Actually more, because I had it pointed more at the glass versus towards the inside. And when you point it more towards the inside where the light source is coming from, you're at 250-ish, 238, 240, so about 240. So that, I think, is where I'm gonna leave it at when it comes to wattage for right now, because I'm getting exactly the par that I want at those levels, right? But out of curiosity, I know everybody wants to know, I'm assuming everybody wants to know, what will it do when we switch? Let's go to 200 watts. All right, going to 200 watts in this area, and it even looks brighter. Right here at this first acro that I have midway down, 489, 486, 500. So there's already a big difference when it comes to the different selections. At this area was around the 300s, and now we're at the high 400s, right about hitting 500, 471, 459, 489, 470. So I would say 480, 470, 480. Let's see this strawberry shortcake right there. You know what? Let's put it right in between right there where it gets both lights. 362, 376, 361. So in the middle, it does drop down a bit, quite a bit, about 100 par. But I think 400, 404, so maybe not that much. It just, there's a lot of water movement still because the pumps are running. So it keeps jumping all over the place. So I would say here 400, and then right under 450, 500. Right here where we measured earlier. 275, 277. At the sand bed again, 284, 278, 282, 277. So around 280 at the sand bed right here. Wow, impressive numbers. That's at 200 watts. Earlier it was at 150. So at 150 with 4 lights, and I haven't turned on the T5s yet, which I think I'm gonna end up leaving it at 150. It's giving me really good par. So now, out of curiosity, let's do 240 watts. And so 240 watts, let's do this first acro that I did earlier. That is 634, 612, 606, 592, 606, 617, 601. So let's say about 600 par. Let's get right in the middle of what I did earlier. 492, 490, 500, 489, 497, 495. So about 500 par. And then where this this strawberry shortcake is at, is 299, 293. And let me tell you why, because I have a darn brace right there. And so because of that brace, which I don't see the shadows for the brace, is actually pretty cool. Because of that brace, the par goes down on the strawberry shortcake. Now let's try 2 more. So right here where the frag rack is at, right there I'm at 320, 285, 277, 295, 290. That's almost 300 par right there. And last but not least, let's do the sand bed. There we go, perfect. Sand bed, 342, 339, 334, 320. So we're getting above 300 on the sand bed. There's 2 things to keep in mind here. My tank is 24 inches deep, and I just realized that the water level is low. You know what? Give me a moment. So I turned on the return pump so we can get some water and see how much of a difference there is. I'm only gonna do the par readings here on the mid setting because it can only go lower or higher from there, right? That was a bust. Okay, now that the water line's all the way at the above, the numbers haven't really changed. So right here, where we are at the smoothie that I did earlier, 527, 531, 500, 543, right here in the middle of both. Now I see why the middle of both is not as high as I thought it was gonna be since it was crossed. It's because of that brace. So right in the middle of both, it's 416, 414, 410, and then let's do the sand bed one more time. At the sand bed, 300, 303, 298, 299, 303. So let's say 300. It's still pretty good numbers. And again, it only goes higher when I switch the higher number, or lower if I do lower. So I'm gonna do one more par test, and that's in the settings that I'm gonna keep it on when it comes to having the T5s on and leaving this at 150 watts. I mean, I might as well save some electricity if I can get the 300, 400 par. I'm not trying to cook these corals, that's for sure, or at least not now, and then maybe later I'll raise it to 200, but I don't think I'll ever raise it to 240 and get its full potential. What I will have to do is figure out how to do the 0 to 10 volt, because I'm gonna be honest with you, I don't know a lot about programming such, so I have to watch some videos or look for some forums that tells you how to do it. I'll keep you posted on that. I'll do a short to give you an update, so make sure you follow my shorts too. But I definitely want controllability when it comes to those lights, to be able to dim them and not have them at 100% or, you know, whatever the percentage is at that wattage level, not have them at that wattage level, you know, 12 hours a day. My goal is to have it at that wattage level maybe 4 hours out of the day, and then, you know, dim up and dim down through the sunset and sunrise. All right, let's see how this does at the lower level, where we were measuring the 300, 350 par in the middle, but then also include the T5s. So let's see. All right, so for now, this is how it's gonna look. This is one thing you'll lose, is controllability of the spectrum color. You get what you get here with these. My long-term goal is to really grow coral, and being that I sell coral now, is to be able to grow coral fast. And this is what these promise, right? That they have the exact spectrum that corals need. So sort of like a T5 or a metal halide, where you don't get that option. It's just that whether it's 14K, 15K, 13K, whatever the case is, once you get them, you can't really tune them. So, you know, same idea, I guess. Maybe in the future, being that this is the first Gen 1, I guess you could say, maybe in the future he'll make some changes, and then I'll be mad because I'll want those. But let's see. Here in the middle again, we are at 378, 375, 357. Right over the smoothie, which was actually my first point of measurement. We are at 429, 454, 468. So we're getting to the 500 par almost, even at the lowest setting. That's because of the T5's extra 60 to 80 par that it was throwing out. Here with the strawberry shortcake, we are getting 223, 221, 223. Yeah. Definitely the obstruction of the brace is definitely causing a big time, you know, drop in par. And lastly, let's do the sand bed with the T5s on. Sand bed 292, 288, 285, 289. So almost 300 as well at the lowest settings with the T5s. Now, I didn't see much of a difference when it came to coverage, turning off the T5s and then turning them back on. I didn't see much of a difference. I'm gonna keep an eye out on that, because if there's not, then I could definitely save some electricity by just removing these T5s and solely using just these LEDs, and then using the helix to supplement for that blue coral pop, not really for par, but for, it doesn't look like I do it. It looks like it creates enough par across, you know, front to back, and I'm definitely very happy with that. Well, ladies and gentlemen, I think this has been a long enough video. I'm pretty sure that by now you probably are either not watching and I'm talking to myself, or those that are still watching probably are doing something else while watching. So for those that did stick around and are listening, I truly appreciate it. For those that tried, I thank you very much as well. And for those that just weren't able to bear it and either fast forward it or are no longer here, I still appreciate you giving me a try. You know, I really hope that you make a comment below and definitely leave suggestions on what I could do different. What would you like to see instead? Shorts, shorter versions, whatever the case may be. I take everything constructively, and I look forward to definitely making sure that I get a true following of true reefers that, you know, are here for the same goals that I have. And if you don't already know, make sure you go check out www.queencityreefs.com. If you want a discount for watching this video, message me through the website and I will reply back with a discount code unique to you to be able to save more on top of the already low cost of these corals. All right, ladies and gentlemen, thank you so much again. I hope this video was informative. I hope this helped you decide whether the Atlas are a light that you'd like to see over your tank. I would say that with the T5s, the spectrum is a bit better. Without, it is a little too white, but he does offer the helix option, combo option, to be able to get that bluer look in the tank, in which is I'm definitely going to do. All right, well, this is where I leave y'all, because I keep saying that and I keep talking. So now for real, I will catch you on the next one. I guess before I do forget, One of the most important things to really measure here is going to be the distance of the light to the water line. And that is about 15, 16, about 17 inches from the water line. So 1.5 feet. If you were to want to get them lower, you would get a lot more power without having to raise the wattage too. I almost feel like these are in a good way, overkill, right? But you want that type of quality and that type of performance from the higher end lights. And the fact that he's able to do this and still sell you a light at $500, I mean, come on now. And that's not to mention with the reflectors. I mean, this is without the reflectors, right? Imagine the reflectors that are supposed to be bouncing light and make that light to penetrate even deeper tanks. Honestly, I feel like this is going to be a game changer, and hopefully these get some traction so that it inspires them to want to do, make better lights, better functionality, and so on and so forth. I can't say enough good things as a first impression so far about these lights. So yeah, keep that in mind. They're at their lowest wattage. They don't have the reflector on. They're about 1.5 feet from the water line. Honestly, I could use these by themselves without the T5s. One con I will say, and I already knew this con going in, is that they're not controllable in the sense of making them bluer or making them whiter. Therefore, you're stuck with that 14K looks, which isn't too bad. I mean, I do plan on having it maybe 2 hours out of the day where it's that white, because you get to see the colors of these fish. I mean, I keep saying that I'm not going to talk anymore, but you can literally see the true colors of all these fish, which is the reason why I don't like a lot of blue all the time, because you got to appreciate the color of these fish and the color of some of these corals that do not fluoresce under the blues. Don't get me wrong, I love the blue pop, but I think, maybe winding down that sunset, 2 hours before it shuts off, that would be perfect. That's a perfect time. 2 hours when you first wake up, if you are the type of person to come sit here, which we do, in the mornings, and then you get the rest of the day to be able to see the true color, true nature of what we have here. So again, I wanted to make sure I didn't forget to mention that. I am very happy with the light. I'm very happy with the output. At the lowest setting, 150 watts, it just seems, it's so bright. It's so bright in this living area, and it's only 150 watts with the capability of going all the way to 240. And then imagine when I am able to dim them. I'm going to leave them like this for now, because then I'm in the middle of the week and I have some work to do, work related. I have a video to edit, and I have to then help my wife with picking up kids and all that. I'm going to leave this looking like this, but at least the cores will have some light. And then on the weekend, I'm going to come back and try to tidy everything up, connect it to the 0 to 10 volt module, maybe give you an update through a short, or maybe make another video. I don't know. So far, so good. And I cannot say enough good things about this light. The con that I mentioned, honestly, I knew it coming in, so it's not a true con in a way, because I knew what I was getting. Again, I'm not sponsored. I paid, full price that a customer that y'all would end up paying even for the bundled price. If there's a good product out there, I want to make it known regardless of who it is, even higher end brands. But anyways.